Good evening and welcome. You're watching Breaking Views with me, Sanket Upadhyay, the only show where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. Now, we know that Rahul Gandhi was in Cambridge and Narendra Modi was in Tokyo. Of course, they had their own engagements, but it seems that on their international assignments and trips, they definitely had regional politics in mind. Now, Narendra Modi did not make any direct reference in his address to the diaspora about politics or the Congress party. But do remember, right from Madison Square Garden in 2014 downwards, up until recently, he has done it. He has discussed domestic politics on foreign soil. Now, he came under sharp criticism from the Congress party as to why is he taking Indian politics out to an international stage. But then should Rahul Gandhi not be accused of doing exactly the same thing, given his speech? And post the speech, his meetings with leaders like Jeremy Corbyn, whom the BJP says are openly anti-India. That man, Mr. Jeremy Corbyn, is openly anti-India according to the BJP. Why is Rahul Gandhi meeting him? So domestic politics being played out on international or foreign soil. That is going to be debate number one. Also on the show, the Aam Aadmi Party has sacked their own mantri. They say that this is zero tolerance. But could this be a case of political positioning? Because now the BJP says the whole world got to know that he is corrupt. And before Mr. Singla could have been exposed, the Aam Aadmi Party did what they are now calling some belated damage control. And it's a damage control exercise of the Aam Aadmi Party, because of which they have sacked their own mantri. The Aam Aadmi Party says, look how clean we are. We take action against our own as well. Let's quickly kickstart debate number one. Washing dirty linen in public, and that too on foreign land, is the allegation. Shruti Kapila, Associate Professor in the Faculty of History at the University of Cambridge, is now with us. She conducted this discussion. Thank you very much, Ms. Shruti, for joining us. Supriya Shrinate, spokesperson of the Congress Party. We also have Captain Ganesh Karnik, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you very much. I would like to first begin with you, Shruti Kapila. Through the course of the discussion, because we don't have the video yet, we have not seen the video of your discussion, but certainly news reports are now out and we know exactly what he said. At any point did you feel that this is something which he should not be saying?
No, I'm certainly no policeman. I certainly don't think politics anywhere in the world should be policed. Certainly not in a competitive liberal democracy that India is, and certainly Britain is. So who am I to legislate what he should say? And certainly that would be against the ethos of any fundamental democratic principles for any country to be called a real democracy. So no, I mean, that's a straightforward no.
So it's okay to be discussing everything openly wherever you are, in the spirit of free speech?
Well, I mean, no, it's not just free speech. I mean, it is also the fact that the world is now one stage of politics. Whether it is, even places like China, we saw last year with Hong Kong that, you really can't surveil people or control them, or we are no longer in these boundaries of information that perhaps we were once upon a time. So we have a kind of curious relationship at the moment to information, political information. One, that it flows very quickly and is disseminated and cannot be controlled. And another, whether leading politicians in the world, I mean, I remember that from Tony Blair's time, really want kind of party discipline and on messaging. So, that's modern,
Okay.
politics, mass media and the like.
Okay. Supriya Shrinate is also with us and she was showing something. Supriya, sorry, we were not on your frame, but we now are. Would you like to show us what you were showing again earlier?
But before I show it, I think I can't agree more with Shruti Kapila, and I'll tell you why. Elected representatives, when they travel overseas, they get to meet a lot of people. Some out of choice, some may not be out of choice, but that is what democracy is all about. I am presuming that here in this picture, when Mr. Modi did meet Jeremy Corbyn himself in 2015, I'm presuming he did not endorse his views. Just like Rahul Gandhi doesn't endorse all his views, Rahul Gandhi also met a whole host of Conservative Party MPs. So I just think the hullabaloo that is being created, and being created by people like who? By people like Kapil Mishra? Are Kapil Mishra the kind of people who should be deciding primetime television news debates, Saket? Have we run out of topics more than anything else? Look at the import of what he's saying, because if you do not look at the import, then I can question the multiple meetings that the Prime Minister had before he became Prime Minister with the Chinese, or the fact that he was in UK, not in any official capacity criticizing the government, or that after 26/11 he held a press conference right outside the Taj while the insurgency was still on. So I personally feel that this is a complete non-issue. The issue that needs to be debated is being pushed on the back burner because these kind of issues are taking prevalence. Rahul Gandhi is an elected member of parliament. Let's respect the people of this country who elected
two
him.
things here.
He represents them, and he goes and meets another MP.
Okay, Captain Karnik, two things here that Supriya has highlighted and Ms. Kapila has also mentioned it. Number one, Rahul Gandhi, and she's showing, holding up that picture also of Jeremy Corbyn and the Prime Minister meeting. So if there is any objection that the BJP has, they must look at this picture as well. Captain Karnik, would you like to respond? If Rahul Gandhi's meeting is wrong, then why is this meeting right?
Good evening, Mr. Upadhyay, and good evening to my co-panelists, both the young ladies. They look little disturbed. So it's just the beginning of the debate. Let them be maintaining their cool, actually. Well, I would like
the point, please.
Slightly. No, they
come to the point.
Disturbed. Yeah, please, yes. Cool down. Well, see, whether Mr. Rahul Gandhi is the elected member of the parliament or not, whether Mr. Modi is the elected prime minister of this country or not, whenever we go outside and make statements, I think one simple principle we all should agree that in the name of free speech, in the name of democratic principles, I think we all should remember that it is the nation first. So whatever comment I'm going to make, how people are going to look at the entire perspective.
Captain Karnik, in the very same, I couldn't agree more. If that is if that is your position, then will you criticize the Prime Minister's criticism of governments before 2014 at the Madison Square Garden, or the various other speeches that he made across the globe? He is very openly criticized all governments before his own. And by your logic, you should criticize the Prime Minister as well.
I can quote one example. When Nawaz Sharif made some loose comments on our honorable former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, it is Narendra Modi who stood up and talked against it. He said he is our... No, it is not true. I know it. He is the one who made the comment. Whatever is the political difference, he is our Prime Minister. Beware before you talk. So my simplest submission is for both the ladies, in the name of democracy, in the name of free speech, when you go abroad, you must be cautious about the statement that you make. After all, it is India's interest.
I'm just saying that, Shruti Kapila, I want to come back to you. You see, the point is, if this is a criticism, then this should be equally applicable to the Prime Minister also, don't you think? In the various speeches, let's pull up that graphic also. I think we have the statements that the Prime Minister made, which were quite critical there. Barbs from afar. Germany.
So I just want to make a correction. It has been said that it should, in the name of democracy, something has been argued. No, it is in the democratic spirit, in a democratic context, that this has been stated. You can't abstract that this is democracy and now you will legislate how you can speak where. Either you're an ambassador of the country, if that is what you are saying, then the whole issue is actually these are really big public debates. Not having, these are in the front pages of all international newspapers. Anything that was discussed by Mr. Gandhi in Cambridge, in front of a student audience, a university members audience, meant that, these are already part of a global debate. So I don't see what the demand here is. I'm actually not, it's not that I'm disturbed. I'm actually rather confused as to what the question or the objection being leveled is. What has been said, which is objectionable here, and what is it that you'd want to legislate?
Okay,
What is it
Captain
that
Karnik, do you want to respond? What did you find objectionable in what Rahul Gandhi said?
Actually, I don't think it deserves a kind of a debate they have taken up. Rahul Gandhi's statement, nobody would have taken it seriously. Now, Mr. Upadhyay has brought it onto the table of a discussion. That's why he's getting a mileage. Otherwise, this would have been just
Congress is saying this is a non-debate. You are saying it's a non-debate. Then what are we doing here?
No, Rahul Gandhi is known for making such, I would use the word, irresponsible statements.
Okay,
and
here is
making
the
some
thing.
unimportant
Let's pull up
people.
those graphics one more time, Captain Karnik, and let me ask you this question. You say Rahul Gandhi should not have said what he did on foreign soil. Here are the Prime Minister's quotes on quote-unquote foreign soil. Let's put them on the screen. In Germany, May 22, he says only a small fraction of what the country earned reached people in the earlier regimes. Then, let's quickly change this. Copenhagen. Modi calls India backward in terms of per capita data collection 5 to 6 years back, right? Criticizing the previous government. Muscat accuses the Congress of corruption, February 2018. Then, in August 2015, UAE, he says previous government and its indecision and being lazy that made them face several legacy issues. Captain Karnik, I don't think this is kind.
Okay. Give me a minute.
This will also constitute as domestic issues. Should be settled in India, no?
No,
not abroad.
First one, no, he was in all the 4 cases. He was addressing the Indian crowd there. He was not making this statement for the public consumption when the Indians were being addressed. Number one.
What is
Number
public?
two, the
You already have television.
first point you said is about money not going there. It was told by Rajiv Gandhi himself. He made a public statement. If 1 rupee is sent from Delhi, only 15% reaches the destination. It is
the point over here is, Captain Karnik, a position, Supriya Shinate, has to be consistent. Either we say that let's not discuss.
No.
When
please,
we are
please.
on foreign land, let's not discuss Indian politics,
No.
or we should be
All
okay
these-
with everyone discussing it.
No, please.
Supriya Shinate.
All these statements were made with the Indian community abroad. When we were talking about the Indian community. What
Supriya
was the
Shinate.
position earlier and what is the position now? What this government has done, he was trying to explain all
Okay,
that.
one by one, please. Supriya Shinate, please. Yes.
Mister, your name is Ganesh, sir, not Supriya. My name is Supriya. He's asked me to speak. Thank you, sir. Thank you. First, I would have preferred if you did not comment on how angry we were looking. Comment on what we are saying.
Thank you
I
very
think it's
much.
a very misogynistic and a very masculine position that men always speak from, how women are looking. Women look intelligent. Thank you, Shruti. Women look intelligent, they sound intelligent. Comment on what we are saying. Don't comment on how the 2 ladies are looking. I take objection to that on behalf of my fellow panelist, Shruti Kapila, as well. That's, stop doing that as a man. We've passed that stage. It's sick that you guys
Cool down. Why are you so angry?
No, because you cannot comment on how women look all the time.
I never said anything about how you look. I said they're angry.
No,
you
you
said
said
you
how
look
we are
disturbed.
looking.
You said we look disturbed.
You would have said you were sounding angry. You would have
it's
said
absolutely
you were sounding
misogynistic.
Please don't say how we look. It's a very misogynistic attitude that the BJP brings to the table. Stop doing that. That's point number 1.
Okay, now that we have established that, yes, very quickly, please. Yes.
They've established, yes. They've established, yes.
The small point that I want to make, Sanket, is what is this hullabaloo about? Jeremy Corbyn did not meet, met the Prime Minister, did not meet. In a democracy, people are supposed to meet each other. You may not endorse each other's views. I am presuming that when the Prime Minister hugged Nawaz Sharif and then Nawaz Sharif did what he did, look at this beautiful picture of the Prime Minister hugging Nawaz Sharif as if he was his long-lost brother. Look at this. I am presuming that the Prime Minister doesn't endorse Pakistan's views, but he's a Prime Minister. He was meeting somebody else. He hugged him. He hugged Donald Trump. Donald Trump openly said he wants to intervene between Pakistan and India. Do we want him to intervene? No, but he still hugged Donald Trump. He kept on hugging and kept on swinging with Xi Jinping here in this picture.
Okay.
Do we endorse? No, we don't. I am simply trying to say here that the real issue is that in Kashmir today, the entire government tried to promote one film. The Prime Minister and his entire cabinet promoted one film. Rahul Bhatt was shot dead. The Kashmiri Pandits are out on the road protesting. There is not one word from the government. Instead, the Kashmiri Pandits are being lathi charged. Wires are being thrown at them. They are being unheard. They are being brutalized.
And they say that we have been told. We are sitting ducks.
Wife on record has said we are being treated like Balika Bakra. She's saying we are treated like
Yes,
fodder.
I remember this. And we've been consistently debating on their plight. Anyway,
are you not going to open your mouth on that? Are you not going to break
Captain Karnik, Shruti Kapila, as well as Supriya Shinate. I've run out of time.
You are out of time.
But thank you very much. I have to move on to a discussion number 2 also. This was a short duration discussion. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on now. Aam Aadmi Party has sacked their own Mantri. I would like to introduce Jasmine Shah, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, Vice Chairman of the Dialogue and Development Commission of the Delhi government, and Sukhpreet Singh, leader of the BJP. Now, Sukhpreet Singh ji was on my show on a sister channel, NDTV India. And Jasmine, he says that everybody in Punjab got to know that here is a man who's corrupt. And then all of this would have come down heavily on the Aam Aadmi Party, would have meant bad publicity, and thus as damage control, the Aam Aadmi Party has made a virtue out of what would have otherwise been seen as an act of corruption in their own government. How would you respond?
Sanket, it is very easy. Opposition politician. That's always been happening in Indian politics. It is almost impossible to sack your own sitting chief minister, especially when your government has been formed for the first time and within days and within months of doing that. It has happened only twice in the history of Indian politics. In 2015, it happened in Delhi when CM Arvind Kejriwal, fighting on the plank of corruption, found some evidence from a volunteer, not from police or some media. A volunteer forwarded an evidence. He found it convincing. He sacked his minister in Delhi. Today, CM Bhagwant Mann acted in the same manner and in thereby doing so has upheld the trust and the faith that the people of India have in Aam Aadmi Party as the only party that walks the talk when it comes on corruption. How many ministers have been there in BJP and Congress in the last 75 years in our country's history, in independent India? Tell me how many of them sitting ministers have been sacked by their own chief ministers? Zero. And that tells you today that today is a historic day in Indian politics. Today's message, today's action sends a signal down the rank and file of Aam Aadmi Party that we are a party born out of a movement, and come may what, you can be a cabinet minister, you can be an MLA. This will not be
Simla's arrest is a signal, not just to the Aam Aadmi Party, but for the opposition also. Sukhpreet Singh, how do you respond?
Have you ever seen any parent rewarding their child for cheating? Here Mr. Kejriwal rewarding his own team, proud of you. And it is like self-certification. It is like a self-certification. Creating own news. Let the public decide. Let the public decide what they have done. It was going on social media. Everybody was. These candidates has been selected by Arvind Kejriwal itself. They have told everyone that these candidates, we have selected these candidates after thorough investigation.
So you're saying that Arvind Kejriwal has to take accountability about the fact that his own selection went wrong.
Yeah, our minister is corrupt. Mr. Mann selected him as a minister. Mr. Mann should have resigned as a moral responsibility.
Jasmine Shah. Jasmine, how would you respond?
Select the right people.
Sukhpreet Singh says that this is your screening process which is faulty.
It's only 2 months.
Saket,
within 2 months. Okay. I've heard your question. Within 2 months.
Saket, before I'll come to responding to that question.
You are giving
let's not forget
certification
that BJP today standing and lecturing.
One moment. Let him respond. I've heard your question.
Can I please respond?
Right.
Can I please respond? First and foremost, Saket, I want to make the point that BJP today standing and talking about morality and corruption, when in the last 8 years, under the leadership of Modi and Amit Shah, they have just completely transformed Indian politics into a stock market of buying and selling MLAs. State after state. It is your view, no? It is your view, not public view. Otherwise, we would 10 crores, 50 crores.
It is your view. You have not found even a single corruption in Modi government. After
because it is your police.
There is
na?
not a
Aapke
single
ishare-
instance, sir. There is not single instance.
Yeah,
You
jaldi
tell me
illegal.
where you have found Mr. Modi into corruption. Everybody knows that Modi is an honest person.
I did not interrupt you, Sakit. I did not interrupt
Sukhpreet
this.
ji, please, one moment. I'm going to come back to you. You'll get your
Yeah.
right to reply, but please let Mr. Shah speak.
Saket, coming to the fact that
My name
yes,
is Sanket,
obviously there, Sanket, coming to the instance in Punjab. Yes, obviously we are unhappy about the fact that something like this has happened, but we had the courage to act on our ministers. How many of the BJP and Congress ministers have indulged in corruption? Their names have been found in suicide notes. Has even one of them been sacked? No. So we today, at the end of the day, we stand. It is our conscience that has made us act. It is the faith that the people of Punjab have imposed. Punjab has never seen an action like this. A sitting CM sacking his own minister in a suo moto manner before opposition or media. Nobody had to tell the CM that this is serious business. The CM decided that no.
My question is different. My question is, based on what the BJP has just said, Mr. Sukhpreet Singh says that here is a case where this would have already come out. This information would have come out, bringing
So
bad
why did it not-
publicity
why
to
did-
the Aam Aadmi Party, and thus as damage control this has been done.
No, it is obviously it is a job of the opposition to say what they want to say. I'm not going to respond to that. Everybody knows BJP's track record on how dirty they have made Indian politics. Today is the day to know
It is your
the
view,
fact
sir.
that Aam Aadmi Party today has a zero tolerance for
Have
Okay,
never
Sukhpreet
spoken.
Singh. Sukhpreet Singh's time now.
Was
Sir,
founded in
Mr.
20
Singh's
I
time
need
to
to know
respond.
why they have put it in public domain. In order to gain cheap publicity, self-created image. Both Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Maan are appreciating each other to give credit to each other. See
Sir,
what
it
is
takes
going on.
courage. It takes courage to
It
walk
is
the
a
talk.
courage.
Your
Wow.
people have
No,
never
corruption.
had courage.
You are doing corruption.
Shall I start
And you are
listing
saying
out
it's
the
a
number of
corruption.
corrupt leaders that
doing
you have in your
corruption.
party?
And you are
Please
asking
stop
your team
lecturing
members
on
that I am
morality
proud
and
of you.
corruption.
You have done
It is
your job.
BJP that has made the
Because
entire
you have
Indian
two
politics
people
a
have-
cesspool
you have-
of money, where you reduce it to only buying and selling MLAs. कितनी सरकार आपने गिराई है MLA को खरीद कर और बेच कर?
अरे सर,
मुझे बताइए।
आपके बंदे आप चेक कीजिए ना, आप चेक कीजिए, आप एक इंस्टेंस दे पाए आप मोदी गवर्नमेंट को जो ईमानदारी के अलावा आप कुछ कर पाए हो? मोदी जैसा ऑनेस्ट आदमी अभी तक हिंदुस्तान में कोई नहीं है सर. आप ऐसा नेता
Okay,
कोई दे
okay.
नहीं पाए.
See,
आप
it's
दूसरी
it's
बात
your
आपकी-
duty to sing praises for your leaders, but the point is that जनता सब जानती है, and if
बिल्कुल सर.
who is able to convince the people is going to be more important. Thank you very
Sanket,
much.
I want
Thank you very much, Sukhpreet ji. Unfortunately, I have
Thank
run
you.
out of time, as well as Mr. Shah. That's a wrap in this edition of Breaking Views. News continues on the other side.